Oh, some head-spinning stuff there. Let's go now to something called paddle dipping. Yeah, we are navigating the waters through to canoeing, where Esti, Olivier and Tiffany Koch overcame tricky conditions to claim the last places in the South African Olympic Canoeing team selected at the SA Championships at Victoria Lake in Germiston last weekend. Both of them are joining us on Sports Live. Esti is in studio, while Tiffany is joining us from teams from Durban. Ladies, welcome to the show. Great having you both. Exciting times ahead. Esti, I'm going to start with you. Tricky conditions indeed, not just talking about the waters, but you've had a heart condition from COVID. How did you overcome that?
Yeah, well, I haven't quite overcome it yet. I'm still busy dealing with that a little bit. I think a lot of people saw that last weekend. But yeah, no, I've got a good team and a cardiologist down in Cape Town, and we've got our plan and we're sticking to it. So all I need is just a little bit of time, and I actually just need to take it easy and not have such high stress level races like I had last weekend.
I mean, metaphorically speaking, people usually say, how long does it take to be an overnight success? 20 years. You've literally put in 20 years. How does it feel now to have qualified for the Olympics?
I don't know. I still feel like it hasn't really kicked in yet. I think maybe like when it starts getting real and we're getting the kits and we're getting closer and we're booking the flights, but it's I almost feel like I need to do it first, and then I'll feel like I reached the goal. Qualifying for me it's great and it's an amazing life achievement, but I want to perform as well. So the job's not done yet. So I think that's where my mindset's at.
Tiffany, you've also put in the hard knocks. You were a 2012 London Olympian. Now this, exciting ahead.
Yes. Me and Esti have had also quite a journey. So after the 2012 Olympics, I moved up to Pretoria to train with Esti for the 2016 Olympics. We unfortunately missed that qualification by 100th on the second and one position. And after that, I kind of hung up my paddle, got married, had 2 children, took a break, and now we've gone a full circle. So being back in a boat with Esti, it's quite something, and to have qualified 9 years later together, yes, it's amazing.
I mean, yes, you speak of challenges, right, Tiffany? Take us through some of the challenges you've both have gone through. You've, like you said, had a different experience. And then I'm going to ask Esti as well what her experience was to get to this moment to qualify for the Olympics for your country.
Sure. In South Africa, I think one of the main problems that a lot of athletes have is funding. So especially with canoeing being a smaller sport, there's not as such a big amounts of funding for the athletes. So we pretty much do the sport because we love it. The backing is minimal. So you come to a stage in your life where you realize you need to start earning money, you need to start having a normal life, and that's when I decided that it's time for me to do those things. And now coming back 9 years later, I have a job, I have a family, and I'm paddling now because I really enjoy it, and it gives me some fulfillment in my life. And for me, I'm looking at it through a totally different way as I used to, and I'm experimenting with different things. And because time is more limited to me, each session is very important to get the most out of each session. And I think Esti can agree with the budget and the funding. Also having coaching and backing, that's also very important, and that's something that's not available to all of us on a daily basis.
Esti, I want to touch on the importance and the role mental health played in your qualification for the Olympics, or your road to the qualifications.
Yeah, I've been going through quite a rough time since 2021. Our Olympic procedure for the Tokyo Games was pretty detrimental to both myself and one of my teammates that unfortunately didn't make it last weekend, Christian Kutsia. We qualified for the games and we did really well, but unfortunately we just weren't allowed to attend. and that kind of broke us. And Christian, he went into a break, and I, thankfully, through private support and just absolutely amazing people in my life, kept going. But mentally, I've made a lot of changes in my life. I've changed the way I look at things. I've changed the way I approach things, putting myself first, and sometimes being a little bit, you can say selfish, but I see it as self-care. And you know, as someone that's always keen to help anyone, that a lot of times people take advantage of that, or you do it to the detriment of yourself. And I kind of just reached a point where I had to decide, it's me and my dreams and my marriage and my career and all of these other things outside of sport that's going to pay if I don't actually change the way that I approach hardships and difficulties. And that in itself was really difficult. A lot of my relationships took a lot of strain, and it was just the cost of freeing myself to really reach my goal. And yeah, I'm not unhappy that I did it the way I did it. So.
And if you could just delve deeper into what were some of the steps that you did take? Was it psychology, visiting?
Yeah, I had a lot of help from a psychologist, Edgar Phillips, and he introduced me to different ways of actually just kind of teaching me to feel and to really sit with the feeling and sit with it for a moment and allow my body to really process the trauma that I'm experiencing. And that was like a really key tactic that he taught me, to, instead of always just shunting away the way I was feeling, to really just take 5 minutes and to sit and to feel what you're feeling. If you want to scream, you scream. If you want to cry, you cry. If you want to shiver, you shiver. It doesn't matter. If it feels like you want to get sick, that's fine. Just sit with that and not think about it, just feel it. And that was a big thing that he taught me to actually cope with a lot of the trauma and the stress that we go through as athletes. Because, you know, people just see the bright and the shiny and the podium and the medal, and they don't see the real bad times that you go through, the hardships that you go through when your husband finds you on the kitchen floor every night crying in the corner because the day was just too much to handle. They don't see that. And as athletes, we always have to be strong. You know, we always have to be fine and strong, and we're coping with this. But we're actually not. So I just kind of got to a point where I was like, you know what? See me vulnerable, see me sad. That's fine, because this is what I'm feeling now. And if you can't deal with that or respect that, then this is not the time for us to interact. And yeah, that was a big move, and not everyone liked it, but it's been helping me, and it's been really good for me mentally.
Sure, and I can imagine the many hats you both wear as mothers, wives, you know, being human, having those feelings. How are you balancing it all, Tiffany?
Sure. So I have a full-time job, a mother to two girls, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. So training has to fit in between them. So it's early mornings for me. I'm at the gym at 5 in the morning. And then I'm lucky to have grannies and grandpas that live nearby, so that they're able to help me in the afternoons when I do my second session. And then weekends, the family's very flexible, so they also help me to allow me to fit in the sessions that I need to do on the weekends. But the days are not easy and they're full, but I'm very organized, which helps me a lot, and I get through my days. So the sport is also, it's a release for me. So it's my happy space. So when I've had a long day at work and I've been with the kids all day, that's the time that I'm enjoying. So it's a good place for me to be at the time in my life now.
Now the training and the hard work really begins. This is the Olympics we're looking at. What have you got both synchronized in terms of your plans to make sure you do well? What are your goals?
First up, we'll be heading to the World Cups in May. So we'll be doing the first World Cup in Hungary in the beginning of May. I'm fortunate enough to have some funding from Koch through the Bidvest OPEX program. So I don't have kids, so that makes my life a lot easier. So I travel down to Durban so I try at least once a month, but going into the games I'll try and get there more. I also have a job, so you know. So I'll travel down to Durban, and Tiff and I, we're constantly in contact, in sync, what we're training, where we are with our training, what phases we're trying to focus on, what we're trying to develop. And then when I'm down in Durban, we just focus on things that we feel needs work. You know, coming off of last weekend, I think we identified quite a few things that we can definitely work on and improve, even though we had really good races, I think, for race 2, 3, and 4 after 9 years of not battling together. There are some tweaks that we can do, and obviously me sorting out my health problem will go a huge extra mile to actually finish the race without trying to pass out. But yeah, I think short-term goals will just focus on the World Cup, get on the international circuit, see where we're at, and just enjoy it. Honestly, that's where Tiff and I both are. We just want to enjoy what we're doing, enjoy the pressure, enjoy the challenge.
Absolutely. Tiffany, before I let you both go, one last question. If you had to choose an alternative sport to canoeing, what would it be and why?
I think a lot of athletes always have this question in their mind. And yes, I've often thought about it. And it would be so great in this country to have someone that could pinpoint which sport you would actually be the best at. And I have a background in lifesaving, which was actually my first sport before canoeing, which I really love. But I think if I could do something else, it would probably be athletics, track. I would quite enjoy that, I think.
Oh, we're going to sprint over to you now, Esti.
I think I would get back into hockey. Yeah, I played quite a bit of hockey in high school, and I really enjoyed it, but there came a point where I had to choose. But I think if I do retire, I'll probably go back into hockey and just get back on the field and hurt my shins.
To move the pain somewhere else.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, Tiffany from Durban, Esti for coming into studio. It tells you that teamwork, perseverance, it all pays in the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there you have it. If you ever were in doubt, you know that there's, athletes out there who've been vulnerable and shown their human quality. So that's what Sports Live is about. We peel up the layers that sometimes we get to know the athlete behind the athlete.